All right, welcome everybody back to the Lantern Sports pregame show. Just two left of these, Casey. Here we are, the final home game at the Shoe. Number 4, Ohio State. Number 7, Michigan State. Highly anticipated game, and we talked about the daunting schedule that Ohio State has in these final 3 games. This is one of them. They took care of Purdue. They got to take care of Michigan State at home. Noon kickoff, college game day. It's got all the makings of a Big Ten, top 10 matchup. What do you like for it?
Yeah, Kevin, it's going to be a high-class matchup between high-class players on both sides for Ohio State and Michigan State. 2 Heisman finalists, in my opinion, with C.J. Stroud now the front runner, depending on what sports book you look at. If you're looking at FanDuel, he's number 1. DraftKings and MGM, he's still number 2. But still, his 68.8 completion percentage, outstanding. He's the 6th Ohio State quarterback in history. Think about that, in history of Ohio State football to throw for more than 3,000 yards. It's tough to wrap your head around, but that's just the season that he's having. And people forget that this is still his first season as a starter. Mm-hmm. He still has another to go, and when it's all said and done, who knows where he's at. Michigan State, on the other hand, they have the worst pass defense in the country, allowing 329 yards per game. So C.J. Stroud, he's going to be able to feast on that, and I think he's definitely going to be able to capitalize on that. According to CFB numbers, they're more of like an advanced statistic sort of outlet, I guess. C.J. Stroud, he has 0.4 expected points added per play. So what that means is for every play that he takes a snap, he adds 0.4 points to Ohio State's total. That's outstanding. He's second in the country, only behind, surprisingly, Georgia's Stetson Bennett. People probably wouldn't expect that, but just, yeah, exactly. I know you made that face. People probably wouldn't expect Stetson Bennett to be leading the country, but C.J. Stroud, he's right there on his heels. And he sort of has the receivers to thank for that, because 3 receivers in the top 10 in receiving yards in the Big Ten, and all 3 of them, they have the potential to go over 1,000 yards on the season. Jackson Smith and Jigba's already eclipsed that mark, but Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, surprisingly, people thought they were going to be the 1-2. They're still on his heels, probably going to get that. On the other side, Kenneth Walker III from Michigan State. He didn't even play at Michigan State last year. He wasn't even a Spartan. He was down with Wake Forest. He transfers in this season, and now he's one of the Heisman frontrunners, as I mentioned in the open. Just Ohio State, they're 3rd in the Big Ten rush defense since week 2 after allowing 203 and 269 yards to Oregon and Minnesota, respectively. They've only allowed 73 per game, so they have done a great job stopping the run. And surprisingly enough, that's when Matt Barnes, the secondary guys, sort of stepped in. So that's a little bit of irony there. But Walker averaging 147.3 yards per game. He's 1st in the Big Ten in that regard. I think it'll just come down to a battle of a good run defense versus a good rusher in Kenneth Walker.
How about that for a segue as we look at the statistics here? Of course, we're going opponent rushing yards allowed here. And both teams here in the top 15 in the FBS. Michigan State 15th, 108.8. Ohio State 13th, 107.3. But I think the number one thing is both of these teams are characterized by their rushing attacks. And you kind of look at Ohio State's resume and their schedule and the game that they lost against Oregon and then kind of the close shave that they had against Nebraska. Those 2 games were their 2 lowest rushing totals. So you can see an offense that statistically is heavily carried by the passing game, right? They could be, I believe, just the 3rd FBS team in history to have 3 1,000-yard receivers and a 1,000-yard rusher. Prolific offense, we know this, but rushing offense and running the ball is the key to rhythm in any offense. No matter how good or bad your passing game is, you have to get the running game going. If Michigan State, with that 15th ranked, rushing defense by yards per game, gets in the mix, stops, Trayvon Henderson here or there, you might see more of a Nebraska-style game where they're out of rhythm a little bit. They can't really get it going in the running game. That affects what they're doing offensively. They can't score in the red zone, things like that, right? So I just think those stats are very interesting because not only is it Ohio State, it's Michigan State as well. You mentioned Kenneth Walker. He characterizes their offense as well. Obviously, we know what Peyton Thorne presents. Kenneth Walker's the dominant guy in that offense. We know this. So it's going to be interesting to see how each side stops the run, and that's the storyline for this game. I mean, when it comes down to it, what ESPN's going to be showing all morning on the graphics is Heisman contenders, Trayvon Henderson, Kenneth Walker, the 2 running backs going at it. I think those 2 guys and their production are going to have a heavy influence on who wins this game.
Yeah, for sure, Kevin. And to your point, it's going to come down to who can run the ball effectively and really manage the game. Ohio State, when they get beat, And when they struggle, it's because opponents have been able to run the ball well. You saw that with Oregon and C.J. Verdell. He was just having a field day on the ground. So if Kenneth Walker is able to do that and they're able to control, especially the time of possession, and make long, sustained drives, start to whittle down this Ohio State confidence and just this defensive level of play, I think that could really be the difference in the game Saturday.
You think that big Money Mel Tucker contract plays anything into this as well, the timing of that?
See, I was wondering that. We just had Reese Davis and Gene Wojciechowski join us here on campus, and Reese Davis says it's not going to be a factor. He said that it's sort of going to just come down to it's going to be a dogfight in the end, and who's going to be the last one standing, sort of like a boxing match. So
it's going to be a fun one, though. We know that for sure. You know, last home game at the Shoe in a year where you get fans back, so the fans are going to be extra rowdy for this one. Top 10 matchup, number 4 Ohio State, number 7 Michigan State. Me, myself, Kevin Lapka, alongside Casey Smith will be there for Lantern TV with the highlights and the post-game show on YouTube and socials after the game. And as always, the articles from our guys Jacob Benj and Jack Emerson on lantern.com. So we'll see you guys after the game. It should be a good one at Ohio Stadium for the last one of the year. At home, for myself, for Casey, we'll see you guys next time. Take care.